Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Formula One. I'm your host, Jamie. I'm here with my sister, Jack.
Hi, everybody.
And how are we feeling post Japan? Give
Um,
a one-word vibe check.
I guess humbled. I'm like I got checked again, you know.
I am feeling elated.
Well, I'm sure you are.
We had a great
No shocker there.
me and the rest of Team 55. We had a lovely, lovely time. We'll get into that. We do have some news though. Some excited news that excited me. I would assume
News
Jack
that excited me
very
as
excited.
well.
Yeah.
We've been very outspoken about them, so yeah, huge love.
Huge. Yeah. So if you've listened to, I do think we mention them every episode. So if you've probably listened to any of our episodes, you know that we are huge Andretti fans and very, very much supportive of them getting into F1. So we were both very excited to see the news that Andretti has opened a new F1 facility at Silverstone Park.
Love it.
So exciting. Literally, I was shocked in the statement on Twitter. They literally said, like, excited to announce our new facility at Silverstone Park, preparing us to enter into the FIA Formula One World Championship. I was like, you guys got that denial and you said, I don't see it.
Which I feel like is the most American thing you could do. Like it's so
Yes.
on brand.
They're America's team. Like, I'm so here for this.
And you know what, like the incredible Kris Jenner will always say, if you're told no, you're just asking the wrong person. And so,
It's not rejection, it's just redirection.
yeah, I kind of hated that.
Hey, what is that? Is that like therapy speak? Where does that come from?
That's got to be on, those like inspiration posters, those business ones. That's like a
Yeah.
cat hanging from a rope or something. It's like dedication, and that's all it
Yeah.
says on the bottom. I think it's got to be one of those.
Yeah. But I very much support this new effort. So the new facility, it houses manufacturing and research and development facilities, and they'll work in partnership with Andretti's Indiana site, which is their HQ in Indiana, as well as the team's Formula E base in Banbury. So this will be, it sounds like it'll become their like Formula One hub, and they'll work, I think like Mercedes and a few other teams have like quote unquote Silverstone as their home track so that they can test and do things and stuff like that. Just a quick note, we have also mentioned the Silverstone Hotel before. So Andretti, as you prepare to start testing things or anything like that, just want to let you know, Jack and I are free and absolutely willing to, stay at that hotel if you need, keep an eye on the track, just kind of have boots on the ground there. We're happy to do that.
Yeah, and I know everyone's anxiously hear about my passport status. I still don't have a new one, but it is in the works.
Yeah, so if you could just give us like a couple months, Andretti.
Yeah,
and then we're good to go. I personally have my passport ready to go. So if you even want to just fly me out there and Jack can meet me, like whatever works best for you.
Jamie can just FaceTime me in. I mean, I'm working on it. It's going to happen.
Jack, this has been such a series.
I know.
How long does it take to get a passport?
I don't know. I don't want to talk about it.
I can't be talking trash about that because I have not done my taxes yet.
Oh my God, Jamie.
I'll get them done. I have to like the 15th or whatever.
You have 5 days.
Yeah. Plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
But in an interview with Sky Sports F1, Michael Andretti said that we are still working along with FOM, and we will show that we are bringing a lot to the party. I think once everyone understands what we are really putting together, it'll be a point where they can't say no.
Yeah.
Which you can't argue with that.
I hope so. I want them on the grid.
By any means necessary, get them on the grid.
Yeah. I mean, say your second driver is Fernando Alonso, and I think it will happen.
Yeah.
Get Fernando Alonso on board. You guys will get your approval.
and crazier things have happened. Remember how crazy we thought Fernando was when he left Alpine for Aston, and look at us now. So
We're just
Fernando
constantly
Alonso is a man
clowning.
full of surprises, and this could be another one, Fernando. You could join America's team.
Yeah.
America's team Andretti, not Haas. None of us need you to join Haas.
No. I keep forgetting. I think that just shows they're not really America's team because we keep forgetting.
Yeah, and I do wonder if we'd feel differently if we followed NASCAR more, because I know Haas is in NASCAR. But I don't believe that they have any sort of HQ, like, how Andretti's going to have this Indianapolis headquarters.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong about that, but I'm not going to look it up.
Okay.
So, that's just a thing that we'll keep between all of us. That I'm not going to.
Yeah, don't share that.
Let's keep that to ourselves. This is an internal conversation.
Yeah, keep that out of our ratings when you guys rate the podcast, please.
Oh, but yeah, also please rate the podcast. I realized the other day I forget
if you
always.
could give us 5 stars, that would be incredible.
I would love that so much. I would love that so much.
Thank you. And follow us on social media, on TikTok and on Instagram. We're both on there at just Famula1.
Yep.
Oh, and we're also on YouTube. So if you want to watch us talk.
Yeah, if you want to watch us have these lovely, lovely, insightful conversations, Famula1 on YouTube. Give us a subscribe. That'd be great. Give a thumbs up on those videos.
I hated that.
Like and subscribe.
Comment down below.
Yeah, all the things.
Oh God, moving on.
Moving on. Back to F1. There are some rumors about Alpine selling, which my brain, when I saw that, went Andretti on the grid by any means necessary. Maybe they should just buy Alpine. However, Renault has said that they will only sell to a team willing to use their products, which throws a wrench in things for the Andretti idea, because Andretti already has a partnership with Cadillac.
Which I'm super excited to see. I want that to still happen.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if maybe like Cadillac and Renault could work something out, or maybe they use parts, but I think Renault probably wants them to use their engine. Yeah. And the way that I've understood it is that Cadillac will be building their own and become an engine supplier in F1. Sick, but maybe, we'll see. It's a long season. If Alpine continues the way that they're going, maybe Renault will let go of that requirement.
Yeah, they're just like, give us money, please.
Yeah. And the last piece of news, which is another one I'm very, very excited about, Prema has announced that they will be joining the IndyCar grid from 2025 on, which is really exciting. Prema is a team in the lower Formula Series, very prominent there, prominent in many other series as well. So very excited to have them joining the IndyCar grid. I think it speaks volumes about the growth of IndyCar that this European team is coming over. I'm really excited. And
you had a driver suggestion for them.
Yes, Prema. Also, if you're listening, Andretti, you may you are welcome to stay, but you can also exit the chat if you'd like to. Now I'm speaking to Prema. Callum Ilott is someone that I think aka he drove in Formula 3 for you. I would love it if you could maybe sign him. That would be really good for me. They did say in a press release article that they hinted towards their lineup would be a seasoned IndyCar driver and a driver that they have brought up through the ranks in the formulas. And Callum Ilott could be either of those or both. Yeah. Maybe their lineup's just one driver and it's just Callum.
He just hops out of one car and gets in another.
He just drives both of them at once. So we'll see.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, it's like the opposite problem to Williams. They have two cars and one driver.
Yikes.
Yeah, I'm just speaking facts. Sorry. Um, but yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, there's tons of different opportunities. So many drivers have come through the Prema ranks that are now all over. Mick Schumacher is another driver who drove for Prema, who I would love to see in IndyCar. Logan Sargent also drove for Prema, so we'll see how the rest of the season goes. But that could be another fun option. Um, yeah,
They
and
have a
then as
lot
far
of
as
options. A lot of
yeah,
people have driven for them. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And that's just like the big names coming off the top of our heads. Like there's tons of drivers that have driven with Prema throughout the years. The one that I'm excited to see if they already have someone in mind referring to that like seasoned professional.
Hmm.
I don't know if that means they're talking to somebody already on the grid right now, if there's somebody maybe they've retired and maybe they'll come back. I don't know. I mean, like Prema is a team that has a lot of connections, so I think we could
Yeah.
do something really fun.
Sebastian Vettel comes back and does IndyCar.
If Sebastian Vettel comes back, but he comes to IndyCar, that would be crazy.
It'd be so funny. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
they're huge. They're absolutely massive. So I think they have a lot of options and they can kind of sweeten a deal. So they could get somebody, they can get a really, really cool driver lineup. So it'll be
yeah,
really awaiting that announcement for sure.
yeah. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. But yeah, speaking of the Seb rumors are kicking up again about him coming out of retirement because he keeps saying the craziest things when you give him a microphone about maybe he'll come back. And the thing is, here, personally, for me, for my mental sanity, I have to just assume he's lying because if I let myself get too far down that rabbit hole, I will lose my mind.
Of
So
like who he's talking to.
like, oh, I'll just convince myself he's already signed a contract and he's coming back. Like I will go so far. I'll be like Easter eggs, like, oh my gosh, well, Toto said this, so that's an Easter egg, and that means their new driver is Seb. And I just like I can't let myself do that right now. We'll see how desperate I get towards the middle of the season. Maybe things will turn that way, and then we can do a whole episode on like my insane findings.
That would be really funny though. Like how you draw the connection for how he gets back on the grid and who he's racing for. I'd
Yeah,
be
just like
down
my
to like,
slow descent into chaos
yeah,
and
be your TED
insanity.
talk.
Yeah, it's like that meme, and it's a screenshot from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia of Charlie, and he has all the like diagrams and the
Yeah.
red string, and he's like turning around, and he has like bags under his eyes. Like that would be what the vibe would be. This beautiful stripe that Dad put up. Thank you, Dad.
Shout out dad.
Shout out, Dad. Would be just covered. Like there you wouldn't even be able to see it anymore. It would just be like pictures, like zoomed in pictures of like Seb test driving that Porsche. And I'm like, well, but the color he's wearing. I would go fully insane, which is why I can't personally lean into that right now. If you are currently leaning into that, I'm so excited for you. And I wish I could join you without going crazy, but I can't.
Send us your sources for when we do dive into the madness.
Send can I caveat that with please send Jack your sources so that
Yeah, you
I
can send them to me.
and then when I'm ready to descend into madness, I'll just ask Jack for the bank of links. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. I'll keep them on hold for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. But moving into our weekend in Suzuka in Japan. What a weekend we had.
Before we start, can we talk about the fan that literally was dressed up as a Red Bull fan? And then as soon as the camera went on him, he whipped it all off and he was an Aston Martin fan.
I love him. I relate. It's like
The
me,
show
me.
was up.
Yeah.
I loved
I'm
it.
like, when you support, I mean, when you support multiple teams on the grid, you got to come prepared to support
Yeah.
everybody. But there were some very funny tweets using that little clip of like me switching my favorite team as soon as my driver changes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I can relate. I could relate to that if I didn't think my
Depending
driver
on
might be going to Red Bull.
yeah,
That's not
depending on where
something I
Carlos
can.
goes,
Yeah. I
which
support a lot of teams, but I don't believe I could be wearing certain teams merch. I'm
yeah.
just Kylie Kelsey at heart, you know?
Yeah, you're Kylie Kelseying the F1 world for
Exactly,
Carlos.
precisely. But yeah, they always kill it with the fans. Did you see the other fan that had the sign that was like, "I skipped school to be here"?
And then there was, like, a baby that had,
There were so many little
there's
babies
so
in
many
like in race
babies.
suits. It was so cute.
Yeah, it
It
was
was so
so
cute.
cute. And they just have I don't know, feel like Japan would just be so fun.
Oh yeah,
I
and
feel
it's
like
just
they
a
just have a lot of
really
fun.
incredible country, and seems like a very fun race. I'd be so down.
Yeah. Like, they obviously root for Yuki, because it's
Yeah,
his home race, but I feel like they all just want a good race.
they have
Like,
like a
you could
really
hear
good
the cheer
variety
when there's
of
overtakes. It
yeah,
was awesome.
yeah. And, like, I feel like I would be somewhat among friends because the Japan fan base also loves Seb to a
They
insane degree.
do.
So I would feel very comfortable in that group.
Yeah, they do.
And Seb has his
Man.
B corner, we could go visit the B corner.
Yeah. I
Okay,
wanna go
Jack,
see
I
the
think
B
we have to go
corner.
to I think we have to go to
We
Japan
gotta
next
go to
year.
Japan. God,
Yeah,
that's gonna be a long flight.
yeah, we might, yeah. That imagine standing up after that flight, jeez,
I
in
think
coach.
I would try to take, like, a melatonin, hopefully power through it.
Yeah, just sleep through the whole thing.
I
That
think
you gotta do it that
I don't
way.
know. I don't know because I don't think there's, like, a direct flight. I don't know. This is so off topic.
We're already planning logistics. You need to get your passport, though.
Stop bringing my passport.
Sorry.
Leave me and my
Okay,
passport alone.
on to quali, on to quali. Um, so with an extremely shocking top 3, um, we have Max P1, Checo P2, and Lando P3. So obviously great quality from Lando. And this surprised me. I just don't think I'd been keeping track of this, but this was Checo's first row in like over a year.
In over a year?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not realize that.
And then so that was wild to me because I was like, well, he's won races. I guess it might have just been it must have just been that long ago. And I guess he's just really not super strong of a qualifier in terms of like he's not on the front row. He's not up next
Yeah.
to
But he's a
and I guess he's
fantastic racer. I mean, because 'cause he's gone
yeah.
2nd and been on the podium
And I
since
think
then,
probably
so
what confused me is I bet you he's had a good amount of P3s in quali. So then he's like been up and like doing the pictures in the interview. So it just in my head, I was like, oh,
he's there.
he's up there. Yeah.
He's there.
Um, and then another one I want to get your thoughts on was so Esteban did make Q2, which in this year's Alpine, that is quite the feat.
That is a
Um,
quite the feat.
he was very excited. And again, this was a feat. This was an achievement.
Well, because they brought upgrades this race, right?
They did. They did. I don't know
Okay.
how great those upgrades were, but he did make Q2. Pierre did not,
Pierre did not.
but he was screaming like he just won the world championship. And again, Esteban, I'm so happy for you, but it was jarring. It was jarring.
Yeah. I mean, couldn't be us. We wouldn't make it, but, like
Oh, no, I would be there's like this rule where you have to like your lap time has to be within like 150% of the race leader. And it's like an old rule from back when they used to have like rich people just like joining. So they like made this rule so that there was some sort of like control. I would like fail that miserably. They'd be like, get out of the car right now and like leave the track. Like get out of here.
well, you know how they talk about too, like, during quali, like, so and so exceeded the time because they
Mhm.
were and it's always looked at and it's always safety reasons. They're like, "Well, we
Yeah.
slow down for safety." And so they never actually give anyone a penalty for it. We would actually get a penalty.
Oh my gosh. So fast. I don't even think I'd
Yeah.
make it down like the first straight before they'd be like, "You've already like over like this is
Also,
a whole lap time."
if any of the other cars were on track, I would stop functioning. I
I
would
think
stop
I
functioning.
would
I don't
start
think I could do it.
crying. I would definitely start crying out of just stress. And then also, have you ever seen the clip of when Mark Webber had food poisoning and he was throwing up in the car? And then he gets on the radio and he's like, "Mate, like I think I have to stop," but then he starts puking.
No. No
It's
way,
funny
that's
because
not
he's
real.
fine. He's okay. It's fun, so we can
Mark
laugh
Webber?
about it. But he's like, I'm throwing up in the car. And like that would be me. I'd be on the radio trying to be like, okay, what do I do now? And I just start puking
No.
from the stress.
Yeah,
So
no, I
this is all to say this whole conversation is with the most peace and love, Esteban. What a feat. We could not do that. However, whoa, what a reaction.
you also, like, you just can't do that. Maybe if you made Q3, then I can justify it a little bit more for you. Um, it's Q2.
It was a
It's
lot.
Q2.
It was a lot. With peace and love.
With
Anyway.
peace and love. With the utmost respect, because we could never do it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Someone else who made Q2 with it being quite a feat, who didn't have quite the same reaction, but he is kind of a man of few words. Mr. Valtteri Bottas also made Q2
Mhm.
in the Sauber. So that was very exciting. Congratulations to him. But I think the big story, at least from my perspective from quali, is VCarb.
Yuki. Another
Yuki
successful Yuki quali.
Yuki crushed quali, made it to Q3, qualified P10, so but still made it to Q3. Very strong performance from him. And on the other side of the garage, Daniel Ricciardo once again missed out on Q2.
Yeah, he qualified P11.
Oh, missed out on Q3. My apologies. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, did I put that wrong in the notes? Sorry
No,
if that was wrong. But
I
yeah, he qualified P11, so missed out on Q3. Definitely not the race weekend he was hoping for, and we'll dive
yeah,
definitely more deeper into that. But
the horrors continue from here
for
for
Daniel
Daniel.
Ricciardo,
But and yes, like you look at it and it's P10 and P11, but their lap times, Yuki was a good chunk faster than him. And they had come out and said that they were making changes to Daniel's car. Um, I don't, we didn't really get to see in a race, in race pace, race outfit, if that, how that would have shaken out. But surely in quali, it did not put him where he needs to be, which where he needs to be, what I'm referring to is if we're assuming that all those rumors about Red Bull are right and him getting the Red Bull seat, he needs to be beating Yuki comfortably. And he hasn't even has he even beat Yuki yet this season?
I don't think so. Do you even think it needs to be comfortably? He needs to beat him to get the Red Bull seat because I think they love him so much. It just needs to be,
Something. Yeah.
yeah,
Or even if he was putting up a fight, like,
yeah.
but he's really not at this point. Like he's really it seems like
Uh,
he's like behind if he was like if you were showed me a list of these results and you were like, this is AlphaTauri slash V carb, like guess who this is? I would have probably been like, this is probably Nick DeVries. Like this
What's up, Nick? Yeah.
again with peace and love you, Nick DeVries. So glad you have found your home back in Formula E. But like these results are not what I mean, definitely not what you and I expected.
No. I mean, I saw an article today, which I feel like is my catchphrase in this podcast. But I think the headline was something around what should have been his season of an audition is him barely scraping by.
Yeah, like this we entered this season where with like, okay, so he's gonna beat Yuki this season, and then he's just gonna like basically waiting for the Red Bull announcement, essentially, was my kind of thought of like, when is that gonna come? Like what result is he gonna have that's good enough for them to announce? And now it's like, when are we gonna get the announcement that he's being replaced by Liam Lawson?
I do love me some Liam Lawson.
And we love rookies. We're big rookie people over here.
We're big rookie people. We're big give the rookies a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so crazy. Which again, we've talked about this, how he came in saying it's going to be great to be here for like a year and then go to Red Bull, like finish my career there. And it's
like it had gotten to the point where we were all almost like openly talking about it.
Yeah, we're all like, okay, so the Red Bull seat next year is gonna be filled by Daniel, and then
and it's just I don't even think they could. One, I know like we know how much they love him. Even if they like wanted to announce it, like I don't even think they could justify announcing it with this performance unless it changes.
No, because it would just be like, oh, we're gonna have Daniel here for team morale.
Yeah.
For good marketing.
Yeah. And I also will say the cameraman in Japan, who every time Daniel did badly, zoomed in on Liam Lawson, diabolical. You
guys are messy.
I wonder if it was the same cameraman who like did this really artistic shot of like the reflection of Carlos's garage and then zoomed back out and then zoomed in and they were in the Red Bull pit wall and zoomed in on Christian Horner. Like, so what is weird. This cinematic? Like, okay, sorry, I didn't realize I was watching Drive to Survive right now.
Honestly, Drive to Survive, get your boys because they need to be on it. No, it's so funny. Yeah, I forgot about all the artistic shots that happened.
Oh my gosh, like every time he did something, which we'll get in a second, we'll get to the race. It was like immediately, like camera is like in on Liam Lawson. I would have been like,
oh my God.
Oh God.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's sort of the recap of quali. Not crazy eventful. But again, strong quali from Lando. Beyond that, nothing wild.
Go McLaren. Another top 10.
Another top 10.
Double top 10.
And then we got to the race. And the race for our East Coast friends was at 1 a.m. our time. And so I had arrived at a point in the evening where I was like, am I going to go to bed right now or am I going to stay up and watch the race? And I texted my friend Julie and I said, are you going to bed or are you staying up? And Julie said, I'm staying up. So I said, okay, I'll stay up too. And the race begins. And not 3 turns in.
Yeah.
Daniel Ricciardo and Alex Albon have an incident. They both DNF'd. I think it was Daniel's fault.
We're just going with the Daniel slander today.
You
might as well name the episode Daniel Ricciardo slander.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be honest and
fair. We love him.
And we love him. I have several pieces of your overpriced merch, Daniel.
Again, the
slander. Wow, I'm going in today.
You are going in today.
It's worth it. It's
love so cool.
I love it. But I do think it was. So he essentially what happened was like Alex was coming up the outside and I guess Daniel didn't see him. So Daniel moved over and like clipped Alex and then they both went into the barriers.
Red flag race.
Yeah, so that immediately red flagged the race for about 30 minutes, at which point, which is why I brought up texting Julie, at which point Julie said, I'm going to go to bed.
I personally was sick, so I was already asleep, but yeah, I was able to just kind of coast through
at that point, when I decided to stay awake, was like, well, you know what I should do? Consume so much sugar. So I was like, well, I'm awake now anyway, so it's fine. I ate several chocolate chip cookies. Yes, sue me. Okay, I'm in a chocolate chip cookie phase at the moment. I need to chill. Anyway,
did you have some before we filmed?
No. No, maybe I do need to eat them to calm down though. Maybe I need to go.
Maybe you're going through withdrawal or
Yeah,
something.
I'm having chocolate chip cookie withdrawal. They're the Whole Foods one, the brown butter
Ooh,
ones. Oh, they're so good.
those are really good. Those are really good.
Hurt my stomach like no else, but I just can't stop myself.
Yeah.
Um, so that ends and there's a standing restart, but Alex and Daniel both DNF'd from this. And this does raise some concerns for Williams who have no chassis. So,
They're out of chassis.
and according to my most recent context, they're not getting their spare chassis till Miami. So I don't really know what's the
Until
plan.
Miami?
So it seems like, because this is we didn't even bring this up, but this was messed up that they repaired Alex's damaged chassis
Oh,
from
yeah. How did we
Australia.
not talk about this?
And then it came out that Logan got the repaired chassis and Alex got to keep Logan's new not damaged chassis. Which that's just kind of BS in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't get
Um,
it. Williams will make a lot of excuses for you, but there's give him back his car.
it's getting harder and harder to defend you, Williams. like
Also, like at this point, just announce that he's not coming back this year, next year, because
like
this is how you're treating him.
it's because it's pretty clear from the way that the decisions you're making and the way that you're treating him that you have no faith in him, which
Yeah,
sucks. Especially because I, over the last year or so, have just like slowly but surely become a staunch Logan Sargent defender.
you're a Logie Bear.
I'm a
I
Logie
hope that's what he
Bear,
calls his fans.
the Low Gang.
The
Uh,
Logie. Do not. Speaking of YouTube, like and subscribe. No way.
yeah, no, absolutely not. But like just admit it, I guess. And so now where we're at because of this crash, I don't know how bad the damage was on Alex's car, but by my count, we're gonna have 2 damaged repaired chassis in China.
Yeah, I guess they do have a week, right?
I would assume that they'll
Like,
repair it, obviously. If there is
yeah.
even that much extent, I don't know how extensive the damage is. It didn't seem like it was a crazy hard crash.
It wasn't as bad as the Australia crash.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely needed some like realignment. Those wheels were doing something crazy when they were
Yeah.
craning those off, but
Yeah. But I don't know how
definitely
bad
wasn't as bad.
the C was.
I feel
I don't
like they red flagged it really because they had to repair the barrier walls.
yeah, tire barriers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
at least that's what I understood. And then yeah, Nico Hulkenberg in that time also took it upon himself to just sit in the pit lane in a chair.
I love when they just like relax and lounge. I'm like, I don't know how you can do that. You just like go relax for 30 minutes and then you have to. I will say a good point would be like if you weren't happy with your start, this is a great opportunity to have another one because it was a
Yeah.
standing restart.
Well, that was the thing too, because they were comparing, I think, Lando's and Checo's start times, and Lando was off by a decent amount on that start. So I can't remember if he did better or not in the second one.
But
Yeah,
good second
he had
shot.
he had a second shot. Yeah, yeah, but everyone's fine. Everyone's okay.
Yeah, everyone's okay, and that's what's important. It'll be interesting to see. It seems like maybe because of the rumor was like a 1 or a 2 race ultimatum. I'd read that it was 1 race. We got a comment on TikTok that possibly it was a 2 race ultimatum from Helmut Marko. So if that's the case, then it seems like there's a lot riding on China for Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah, and you know what? Red Bull's hiding Helmut because he would give us the answers.
Yeah, let us
They're
at him.
hiding him.
We want to know.
The one time we want to talk to him.
When the world wants him to yap, you hide him away. Why can't you hide him away like every other time when we don't want to hear from him?
Like a superhero. Like when the world needed him most, he was nowhere to be found.
He vanished. I will just never get over the whole when the Christian Horner drama was going on. Do you remember that tweet that I showed you where it was like the rumor came out that Helmut Marko had been instructed that he can't talk to media?
Oh,
And
yeah.
then someone quote tweeted it and they were like, Helmut Marko this exact second on Sky Germany. Like literally, as that news came out, he was interviewing on Sky Germany. Oh, so funny.
Whoever the PR people are at Red Bull, just because of helmet alone, probably are have so much anxiety.
I
So
give
much
you
anxiety.
so much credit, Red Bull PR team. So much
Yeah.
credit.
And I
Uh,
mean, Max is also kind of a loose cannon. You guys are just gotta be on edge
yeah.
year long.
Max is like left and right making jokes about him. He's gonna just leave the sport.
He's just gonna leave. He's gonna crash the car. Like,
Yeah,
so
I love
funny.
it. Make
The other
drivers
thing
less media
that
trained. It's so much more fun when they're not media trained.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that made me kind of giggle during the red flag was like, what is the temperature in Japan? Fernando Alonso is in a full-on jacket zipped all the way up. Checo's getting those ice packs put on him 'cause it's hot. It's like, what is the temperature?
It's
in
my
this?
understanding that it was warm, but
Yeah,
sometimes like I don't think these like drivers interact maybe with temperature the same way that we do. Cause also like several times there have been drivers showing up to races in like Saudi and like Abu Dhabi, famously extremely warm climates, in like full sweatshirts and
yeah.
jackets.
AKA Lando Norris, who always shows
Yeah.
up in a hoodie and long pants.
Yeah.
And I
So
mean,
I'm
and then
not
there's
clear.
Lewis who definitely sacrifices his
But that's for the
core temperature for
fashion.
fashion, for
That's for
fashion.
the fashion. Yeah.
Yeah,
But back to the race,
back to the
post
race.
the red flag. So we were off racing again, and Sauber still can't do pit stops. Shocker.
I mean,
I don't
that's
know
it.
what they're doing over there. I have no clue. I think I this is one where
We
I
could.
think I could do a better job than
We could totally do it.
we could both be, which wheel should we be? Because we could be like,
You wanna be on the
take the
same
joint.
wheel?
Yeah, because like one person takes the tire off, the other person like puts you
Do you
put the
want the
tire.
screw do you want the screw or do you want to put the tire on? I think I'm
I
stronger than you, so I think I
Yeah.
have to do the tire.
But do you think you need strength to do the wheel gun thing? You probably have to push it.
I don't think so because you can hold it with you hold it with 2 hands and you just
And you just
yeah.
okay. What do you think? What wheel do you think fits our vibe? Like front right?
Ooh, yeah.
Front
Definitely the
right.
front. Definitely
Yeah,
the front.
definitely the front.
Definitely on the front.
If
I wonder
any
if there is
teams
a
are
hierarchy.
looking for pit crew, we are willing, but only if we can do the front right together.
I wonder if there is a hierarchy. If anyone knows this, please let me know. Like between what positions, like if you're doing the screw, if you're doing the tire, if you're doing the
Yeah. Like, is it
what is
like
it, like the cranks,
tenure?
whatever. If there's between that, and then also if there's a hierarchy on what wheel you're on, or at least what half of the car you're on. I feel like there has to be,
There has to
and I
be
want
some
to
way
know
they
more.
organize it. Or
Yeah.
what if it's just like at the beginning of every season there's a sign-up sheet and you have to like run to the sign-up sheet and pick your spot? That could be it too.
That'd be really funny. Be like, "Oh, dang. I got the back right again."
It's like, oh, I didn't want front left. I wanted
My friends are all in the back left.
oh, they're all
I
gonna
wanted
become a loser.
yeah.
We could write a
Okay,
reality show.
we
This would
need
be
to move
perfect.
on. This is if you
Okay,
guys are
yeah,
still listening, thank
sorry.
you. We're gonna power through, I promise.
Okay, let's time to focus up. We also, before we even started recording, had like a whole side conversation that we kept being like, we need to start the episode. And like, so we're just kind of on one today, I guess, is what I'm
I
trying to
have
say.
notes on my notepad next to me of things that Jamie and I are gonna talk about after we're done
Yeah,
filming.
the don't you worry, the yapping will continue.
The yapping doesn't stop just because the
uh,
cameras are off.
but yeah, so speaking of Sauber not being able to do pit stops, this is unrelated, but in the same vein, Zhou Guanyu did DNF.
Yeah,
Uh,
after going to the pit lane like 4 times, and it was like, you might as
yeah,
well retire the
call
car
it,
because
call
he's
it.
so far behind.
Yeah. And
Yeah, he said it was a
Alpine,
gearbox issue, I think.
yeah. Alpine, the horrors continue over there. P15 and P16 for them after upgrades. So, we soldier on. It's a long season.
What,
Best
like
of luck to you.
18th and 19th to 15th and 16th post upgrades?
Well, yeah, with 3 DNFs, the only driver they finished in front of was Logan, who had an
That is
incident.
true.
So,
I forgot about the DNFs. Yikes.
and Logan had an incident late in the race, so I think he might have, had he not had that finish in front of
Yeah, his
Alpine
own
too.
fault though. I'm
Yeah, he
like,
locked up.
Logan,
He
dude,
locked up and
no,
yeah.
he's got to lock it in.
Yeah.
Come on.
It is like, as a staunch defender, becoming harder and harder to defend.
It's so hard when it's like, okay, you're doing great, keep going, and then you.
I saw
hit
the
it, like,
craziest tweet. Look at
what?
it.
This is gonna be our
So,
longest episode ever.
I know, but I have to share this. Someone tweeted Logan Sargent is really just Latifi with fans.
Latifi, Nicholas Latifi had fans.
Not as
I'm a
many as
fan.
Logan.
I was a fan. The GOAT.
I love Nicholas Latifi. I hope he's enjoying. He's in school now.
Yeah, isn't he getting his like MBA?
Yeah, I think he's at like Harvard or something, somewhere fancy.
Yeah, he's doing fine.
Yeah, but yeah, that tweet really was a punch to the gut for me personally.
Oh God, yeah.
But continuing, and just the horrors continue. Mercedes finished P7, George finished P7, and Lewis finished P9.
Yeah, not great.
So more struggles over there. The Mercedes social admin is, I think, actively having a breakdown.
I think so too. Like they posted a picture of like, was it George with like a shark?
Yeah. And then they posted this thing where it was that meme where it's like, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. And it was literally like, if you can't handle me in a picture of the W15, you don't deserve me in a picture of the W11. Which I felt was just a bit like, okay, what are we doing here? I think
they're hurt. I think everyone's just,
yeah. And I think they're struggling to connect with a fan base now that they're struggling, which is crazy as a Ferrari fan. Like there's nothing that team could do. I'm locked in like a prisoner. Like there's nothing that team.
It is funny
no
though,
matter how bad they do.
Their tactic on social media is like what thirst traps and really artsy race posters.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Alpine, who kind of crushing.
Alpine
Sauber also
solid.
Sauber is just like we know we're not going to do well, but we're going to be funny.
Yeah,
and they're doing.
And you know what? And they're here. They're here for a good time, not a long time. Literally.
Yeah,
so,
literally like, 2 years.
Literally. But last one, I guess, with the horrors continue. Lance and Fernando are pretty unhappy with the straight line speed of the Aston. And Lance had quite the voice crack. Unfortunately, it was broadcasted to the world, complaining about the straight line speed. So sorry, Lance, that must stink. But we will see how that continues throughout the season because, they started off so strong beginning of 2023. But I think really what happened was they, started off maybe like half a step ahead of everyone. Yeah. And it seems that everyone has sort of caught up and overtaken them now. Yeah. So a bit of a rebuild for them. They're going to have to. And I feel
like even last year, like where they ended, because they tried to bring upgrades, and I feel like that brought them back down.
Yeah, like reverse
and then
upgrade.
They haven't been able to get to that other spot. Yeah. And then like you said too, everyone is taking steps forward. So they're surpassing, and it's
some work to do over there. But on to the positives.
Yeah.
We got yoints. Yuki got points. We got yoints.
That's so funny. Did you just make that up? I've never heard
no, I saw it on TikTok.
I like it.
Yuki finished P10 in his home race. The crowd went wild. He had a fantastic weekend, fantastic race.
Yeah, he did.
So there was at one point he was in this like cluster that came out after a pit stop, and just Kevin Magnussen was being Kevin Magnussen and driving like a madman. And he like very skillfully kind of just like sailed right by and overtook several people to finish in the points. So that was
this is the Yuki we want and need 100% of the time.
Yes. Loved it. He he was really just on it this whole weekend. It seemed like
Mhm.
just really on it. Seems very comfortable with the car. But overall, like this was just a really good race. Like lots of overtaking. Obviously, not a battle for the win because Max was ahead of everybody by like 25 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
But in throughout the field, there was a lot of battling, lots of
Even in
overtaking in like interesting
5.
parts of the track.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the top I mean, not max, like 2 to
Yeah,
5, like, that switched up pretty
yeah.
often,
There was
so
lots of movement around there. Yeah, so that was very exciting.
it was.
There was a little bit of like a George versus Oscar right at the end. That was really entertaining. Um, George was
Oh, yeah.
really trying to overtake. Oscar was really defending. That was really good to watch. But our final podium, which we'll have to go back and check, but I think I might have predicted this 100% correct,
Ooh, you
was
probably did because you always just say Carlos. It's like the same thing with the driver of the day voting.
yeah, did he win? I didn't look.
I don't
He
know
should have,
because I didn't
but
vote because I watched it
oh,
later.
you watched it late. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, P1 Max, P2 Checo, and P3 Carlos, who now, as of now, has a 100% podium rate for every race he's done this year.
pretty good.
So really good. And he was on a different tire strategy to most of the people up at the top. So he had to do a later pit stop. And at one point I was like, oh, is he like not gonna make it back up to the podium spots?
Yeah,
And at that point it would have been, I think Charles Leclerc would have been P3. So again, solid results team wise for me, but I wanted Carlos up there. And
yeah, the tire
he,
strategy for this race was really interesting because everyone was
yeah,
kind of doing something different.
yeah,
So it
like
wasn't
some
just
people, yeah, there was such a difference in, you could see in the start with people who started on the softs versus people who started on the mediums, but really over the course of the race, like the softs fell off so quickly, and even
so quick.
the mediums even fell off pretty fast. So a lot of people were on
Yeah.
hards, but Carlos was not. Carlos was on mediums. So a
Yeah, that it was
very,
great. That's why I was like, "It's gotta" I should have just looked it up, but I didn't. But in my
I
mind,
believe the
it must have
track
been
is,
so hot.
I think their track is like more bumpy or something, like the track surface is
Mm,
actually a little bit more rough than others. I could be wrong about that though.
okay.
But overall, a
I mean,
fantastic race.
that sounds like it works for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, enjoyed the race for sure, even though it was another max win. Um,
I think that what
Still
they need
definitely
to
enjoyed
lean into is like if we can have if we have Max winning, but we have like entertainment going on down the grid, like then it's still an entertaining race to watch. It's
Yeah.
when it's like we've had a few of these. We had like a good amount of them last year. I feel like where it was like, yeah, Max is 30 seconds ahead and everyone's just sort of like in a DRS train, like no, there's nothing
Yeah.
really happening.
Yeah.
Um, so now that I think some teams are closer together, even like, up at the top, we have Ferrari kind of, I would say Ferrari's pretty clearly ahead of like second place,
Mhm.
but there are still like opportunities for battles. And there's definitely in the midfield a lot of opportunities for that. So
Yeah, like, definitely
good
overall, the
racing.
drivers' championship, I feel like, is pretty close point-wise. Um, constructors on the other way on the other hand, there's a big dip between 2 and 3, between Ferrari and
Yeah.
McLaren.
Yes, yes,
But,
yes.
Ferrari is close to Red Bull still, so
Yeah. Should we do a
would
little
you I
quick
don't
points check in?
yeah,
I have it
do
pulled
you
up.
have it pulled up?
Mhm. Yeah, so obviously P1 in the constructors is Red Bull with 141 points, P2 Ferrari with 120, McLaren behind them in P3 with 69 points, Mercedes in P4 with 34 points. Definitely a gap there.
Yeah.
So that's like the gaps between 2 and 3 and 3 and 4 are pretty big. But
Yeah.
then Aston Martin only 1 point behind Mercedes with 33 points. In sixth, we have RB with 7 points behind them in seventh. Haas has 4 points, and then Williams in eighth, Sauber in ninth, and Alpine in 10th, all with 0.
If those bottom 3 teams If you had to pick a team that scores no points this season, a goose egg season.
Sauber.
Oh,
Or no, wait, I changed my answer. Otmar's Revenge, Alpine.
revenge is whatever voodoo doctor he's working with. He should give her a tip because
Yeah.
uh,
Also, like, can you give me her number? Like, I would love to work some voodoo.
I got some people I want revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be funny. Yeah, I was definitely thinking Alpine.
It's hard though, because I don't want the drivers to experience that, but there are
Yeah.
yeah. I
Um.
kinda want maybe Alpine if they have a really bad season, then they'll sell you Andretti and they'll get rid of their Renault requirement.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
We'll see.
Um, but no race this weekend, sadly. We are prepping, but so the week after this weekend is our first sprint of the year, and we are finally back in China. We have not been in China for a good amount of time.
And we are still poor East Coasters. Races are at 3 a.m.
So yeah, just start prepping if you're one of our East Coast friends. Start prepping your sleep schedule now because race weekend, obviously 18th through 21st of April. FP1 is at 11:30 p.m. Sprint quali is at 3:30 a.m. The sprint, not too bad, is at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Quali is at 3 a.m. and the race is at 3 a.m. So just
I am
start
excited to be
prepping
back on that
now.
track because
It's been
I
so long.
I wasn't a fan. The only
Yeah, we
way I've
didn't.
seen China is through, like, Drive to Survive. That's the only way I've
Yeah,
seen it. So I'm
so it's
excited
very
to be
exciting.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've never seen a live race in China, so this
And
is
this is our
exciting.
first sprint, even though we don't like the sprint format.
We like
It is our
sprints.
first. It
We
is our
just don't
first of
like
the
this.
season.
We are team old sprint format.
The last
Um,
sprint format.
so but I appreciate anything where I feel like there's more stuff to watch. I
Mhm.
occasionally will watch free practices, but there's not, you're watching them practice. So this is, more stuff. And there's two qualies, so that'll be good. And I'm excited to see this track. So,
Yeah,
but no
for
race this
sure.
weekend. So we will talk to you next week and we'll have something fun up our sleeves to chit chat to you about.
Yeah.
Um, but in the meantime, have a lovely, lovely week. Love you so much. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.